I said, if it's not supposed to be long term, if it's not something that's supposed to be like a forever connection or something like that, what should have happened was I should have been Divine Rashonda 1111 with him, as opposed to being Rashonda with him. But again, I didn't know that until it was over. Same thing with the next person, with the person that got me back to this area. Um, Same situation, heartbroken, lots of things that both needed to be physically healed, as well as mentally and emotionally and spiritually healed. But again, we had crossed that line before I knew that. Because see, when I met these people, my set intention was to bring love into my life. The my set intention was to bring my mate that I wanted to have a life with. Not I was setting the intention to bring people into my life that, needed my help like that. And now I find myself in that position. Well, before my current mate, I did meet and actually have one date with one other person, and that person had their own sets of issues too. Um, and I could have tried to help that person. We didn't cross any lines or anything. Like I said, it was one. It was just, it was just, yeah. The issue with that though, the reason why is because I knew that this person wanted more, and they weren't gonna try. They would have continued to try to pursue me. I didn't have an interest at all to pursue them. I would have wanted to help them, but they wouldn't have allowed me to help them either. So I just cut it down a bit. You know, I'm not even gonna say that for reasons why I know and I won't let you guys know. But I'm gonna just say I cut that off. That was it. And now, bam, I'm in my current relationship and I'm looking at him and I'm like, wow. I see, Divine Rashonda 1111 sees, but Rashonda knows and understands. And Siobhan and all the other pieces of me just stops. Cam Girl Preach just stops. Because Cam Girl Preach is like, and who is Cam Girl Preach? When I was being, when I was doing full time Cam at the time, when I was doing my thing, I would have these different times and moments where Divine Rashawn 1111 was actually coming out, even though she didn't exist yet. Whether that makes sense or not. I had these different times and moments where I would just be sitting there and the tea would just be rolling off my tongue. And they look and they like, hold up, this girl is booty hole naked in lingerie, in leather outfits, with the toys over here on the side and all that. And I was literally preaching. Like, I didn't recognize it. I didn't realize it for what it was. But I was literally preaching. I mean, I was preaching about everything. I mean, the tea was just rolling out of me. And so finally it just rolled off the tongue. Cam Girl Preaches up in the building. That's just what, that wasn't my name, but that's what I called myself. It was like Cam Girl Preach. It was like, I'm half naked, I'm shaking it. My thunderclap is legendary up in this piece. And yet it's not even about my thunderclap right now. I'm sitting here half naked, sitting up here speaking some truth. And some people will probably look at me right now and be like, you half naked? I mean, and I'm going to tell you why I get both offended but also understanding at the same time with what I'm about to say. There was this episode of Tyra Banks from her show where, this woman, I think it was a stripper and whatnot. I think she had like strippers up there, escorts up there, and sugar babies up there and whatnot. And one of the young ladies was saying how, she would be stripping, she would be half naked, she would be on the pole, she would be doing a private dance, and how some of the men were actually talking some real good stuff to her. And when we're talking about good stuff, we're talking like real stuff. Like it wasn't, oh yeah, bend over. No, they were talking about business, they were talking about life, they were talking about spirituality, everything you could possibly imagine. They were having that type of conversation. That was the type of zone that they had. And Tyra was being funny. It's no shade, it is what it is. She was being funny. He's like, Okay, you're showing your stuff in exchange for money to some people that's giving you some real life experience. And anybody in our position will automatically feel disrespected when somebody steps forward and say some crap like that. Because if you have never been a cam model, male or female, or transgender, or couples do it too. If you've never been a phone sex operator, if you've never been a stripper, escort, or anything like that, both in person or just over the phone or video camera, one of the things that you will not understand or comprehend at all is that either one of those professions, you carry many hats with you. And you would think the biggest hat that you carry is got something to do with sex, and you would be wrong. And that's actually the smallest hat. That's actually the less complicated hat. The biggest hats or hats and complicated hat is friend, bartender, therapist. Those are the hats that you really carry on your head. And PSOing as well as camming, the best days and the most expensive days of the year are holidays, birthdays, death anniversaries, um, other anniversaries where the person may still be alive, but things may not be perfect. And that's the reason why you're getting a phone call as opposed to them being with the person or them getting a phone call. And it's because there are people that just want to talk, just like people call psychics for counseling. We don't just get on, oh, you're going to have a fortune of money. You're going to be so rich in 2029. At least I don't anyway. Whatever divine gives me to give to the person, that's what I give them. I got paid quite a lot of money for over 20 some years telling lies to people, but I wanted to be out of that. I wanted to be able to tell the truth. I wanted to be able to help and heal people. Definitely didn't know how I was going to be doing it until I got activated, and then bang, bang, boom. That's how I do it. But my point, though, is you know, being a psychic is about being a counselor as much as it is about seeing the truth and giving it to people and giving them guidance. That guidance also stems from counseling as well, along with other healing methodologies that goes along with it. But anywho, she was making fun of her because she's like, "How are they helping and bettering your life?" Jason spent a good amount of money on some strippers just to hang out with them. And I understood that. That stems from the conversation I was saying I had earlier, halfway had earlier with the client. Um, that most people, most guys, more specifically, that hangs out in that type of thing, like in a strip club, in a webcam room, over a phone, it's because they want to be around like-minded people that at least are no judgment, willing to listen, and actually has a real opinion when it comes down to it. So yeah, I would sit in my cam room preaching, talking about what was, what is, why it is, what's gonna be. I mean, it would be so funny when they would come and show back up and like, yeah, girl, you said that was gonna happen last week. Guess what? That don't happen. It did, didn't it? I mean, at the time, I wasn't realizing I was fortune telling, as you will. I didn't realize that. I was just, the anointings would hit me, and that would be it. And then, of course, we go back to handling biz naive. Because another thing people don't really realize what real Kundalini energy is when you're really close to God, you stay horny. I mean, as crazy as that may sound, it's the truth. The more in tune you are with God, with angels, with archangels, with your high vibrational ancestors that's on the other side, the closer you are to divine, the hornier that you actually are. And that energy is used and infused inside of your sacral chakra. You release, you have an orgasm, whatever you want to call it. And before it takes the pressure off, it takes the top off. And not just the pressure, it's like it cleans it out. It's like my mama always told me, put a little bit of super inside of your gas tank every once in a while to clean it out a little bit because it cleans it out. That's what it does. That's what your Kundalini energy does. It pumps through, and bam, before you know it, you have a new way to make some money. Business ideas, investments. You're happier. You're more peaceful. You're more joy filled, and